In this video, we are going to look at how to use LoggerPro to do a video analysis, or to use a video to analyze the motion of an object that would otherwise be difficult to analyze. I'm going to assume that you have LoggerPro installed on your computer. If not, just stop this video, or take notes, either way. If you're at school, stop the video, go install LoggerPro so that you can just follow along. If you're not at school, just take some notes so that you make sure that you can do it when you get to school. So I'm going to start from the beginning. The start button. LoggerPro is already installed, so as I type in LoggerPro, it searches and comes up with it. Here's the program. I have to go get the video. Don't have the video yet. I need a video. I have put the video on the classroom, so go to the classroom, second or sixth block, whatever class you're in. Here's the video. Download this video to your computer. There it is. Click. It will come up because of the format it's in. It will actually come up and you'll be able to preview it, but what you're looking for is this little download button at the top middle. Click there. It will download. If you're in Internet Explorer, it works a little bit differently, but with Chrome, it'll pop up down there. I'm going to throw this onto my desktop. Throw that one away. There we go. Drag that over, and there is the video on my desktop where I can get to it. Done with that now. Back to LoggerPro. I want to insert a video, so we're going to go up to Insert, Movie, navigate to wherever. There we go. Okay, third time's the charm. So there is the video in its own little window. You can drag it around, put it where you want. Key features. In the lower left, we have our control. Push play, the video plays. There's the fellow dropping the ball. The video quality is not great. Just going to put that out of there. Alright, there's the stop button. It's a very brief video, so rewind button takes it all the way back to the beginning. These buttons are where the money is. These buttons will advance the video one frame at a time, so you can get a lot of refinement about where we are. See, there he's holding on to the ball. One frame further, he has let go of the ball. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for the frame immediately before the motion begins. We don't care what happens before this point. We care what happens once the ball starts moving. This is going to be our 0 time. So we're going to use this tool here, Sync Movie to Graph. Click on that button. We can't do this yet. We will do that later. We need to create our data set first. Okay, so now that we have found this frame, there you can see his fingers come apart, the ball starts moving. There the fingers are together. That's what we're looking for. Click on the button with the red dots in the lower right-hand corner. This brings up a toolbar of things we are going to use. First thing, we're going to use this scale button. Horizontal ruler, click to set scale. This tube is 1 meter long. From this black line to this black line is 1 meter. It is important whenever you make a video for data analysis that you include with it a scale. You need something in the frame that you know how long it is. The video doesn't know how big the ball is or how far it falls unless you tell it. So we're going to go in here and say, from here, I'm going to click and drag from the first black line down to the last black line. Once I let go, I get this little radio box that comes up and says, okay, how long was that? This is 1 meter, but it doesn't matter what it is. If we didn't have this here and this were me, I could measure from my elbow to my wrist and find out how long this is. I could measure the diameter of the ball and use that as my scale. Longer is better. As always with scales, the bigger the scale, the better it is. Now that we have set our scale, we are ready to go ahead and plot we need to set up an origin. So we're going to go up to this next tool, the Set Origin tool. We are going to set our origin in such a way that the ball begins at the origin. It seems a sensible choice. It doesn't really matter, but it's just a little bit easier to see what's going on if we start the object at the origin. We can put the origin wherever we want. Features of this, we click on the tool, click where you want it to be. If you want to move it, you can drag it around, it's fine. You can click again to put it where you want it. So position it right there in the middle. This little yellow ball represents the positive x-axis. So positive x is this way, and you can actually see up here the coordinates of the point. So here we're out, there's 1 meter in the x direction, and then there's negative, so we're down a meter in the y direction. So you can see the resolution that we get out of the video is really quite nice. It goes, so this is in meters, so that's centimeters, millimeters, tenths of millimeters is our resolution. So you can get really high quality data out of this. So this is our positive x-axis. Our positive y-axis goes up. The ball is going to travel down the negative y-axis. We have the origin set. Now we're ready to take points. I'm going to use this add point tool, and all we're going to do is literally track the ball. Okay, so we click, and in the background here, we actually plotted a point there. So there's the point. Nope. So if we look in the background, we've actually plotted a point right there, and that corresponds to this point. Now you notice the ball, the video advanced, right? If we go back a step there, see there's no point, there's the point, but it's really, you can't see that the ball has moved very much. We have advanced, but it's not very much. It's too difficult to actually determine where the ball is here. So in a situation like this, where the movement is very, very small, you're actually better off to skip a frame or two. Just skip ahead a little bit so that it's clear, like, okay, now the ball has moved. And we actually see there's like an after image here. We have 2 balls. I'm going to follow the bottom one. I think this is actually an after image, so I'm going to follow the bottom ball and attempt to click right in the center. Now here, the ball is going faster, so you can see that it travels a greater distance, and we can actually use every frame now without any skipping. And we're just going to go ahead and continue following this bottom ball until the ball leaves the page, and you can see in the background that as I click, the graph is actually being made. So this does a lot of the legwork happens for us using this piece of software. And there we are, there's our last point. There's now only one thing to do. I'm going to run the video back to the first point. So I want it right there where the first point appears. This is what I want the origin to be. So I want this to be 0 time. We know that this isn't 0 time. We ran the video forward a little bit. So clicking this button, the sync movie to graph, we see that there's actually an offset. Right now we're at 1/10 of a second. We need this to be 0 seconds. So I'm going to say on the graph to set the time, or enter it directly. I want the graph time 0 to be the movie time 1/10 second. This will automatically set when you go to the right frame. Clicking OK, you see that my graph adjusted ever so slightly so that now my first point is at 0, 0 instead of at 0.1, 0. So that is the basics of how we take the data. Now when we come into class, we'll be ready to do something with it. Other features of this graph, things you should be familiar with. If you click on an axis label, like here we're plotting both x and y at the same time, but in this experiment x is not interesting, it doesn't move in that direction. So if you click, it brings up a list of possible variables. We're only interested in y. Clicking y makes the x go away. If I click x, it just brings up x, and sort of a scattered mess. Don't worry about that, we're only interested in y. We can change our scales. By clicking on the last value in a scale, you can adjust it to whatever you want. We want it to be 0, that's fine, we can see all the points. Our first point is 0 here, that's great, but if for some reason you can't see the origin or something else, you can adjust the scales by clicking on the last value and typing in a new value that you want. So that is it for our initial look at how this works, and please come to next class with at this point where you have your plots pointed, you can save the file, and then when you come into class you'll be ready to go.